It was such an insightful session before this one. As we all know, I mean, needless to say, what MSMEs mean to our economy and what they have done to the overall growth of the Indian economy. Yesterday's example of when Chandrayaan-3 landed, it's a metaphor for what is happening across India. I think what MSMEs are doing is no less than a spectacle. So our topic is how can now MSMEs unleash the next phase of growth and use technology and even compete on a global front. Before I go there, let me start with you, Mr. Saluja. If you look at the last 3 to 5 years, we had a pandemic in between. We had a high-tech adoption already, then it fizzled out. Then we have the UPI success. How has the MSME world panned out overall in the last 3 to 5 years to set in the context?
Yeah, sure. So I think everyone here fully believes that MSMEs is the backbone of the country. It's a growth engine for the country. And while the COVID, when it came, and there are a lot of new constraints which came up, definitely there were a lot of setbacks. But as such, the nature of the MSMEs are such that the MSMEs tend to kind of get the problem solved soon. They are, from a nature, they are more innovative. While the MSMEs doesn't have a big kind of an innovation teams, they're like earlier panel discussion, they were talking about many specific roles. Like in the MSMEs, we don't have an innovation officer, but definitely the way the MSMEs
excuse me, sir. Sir, can I request if we could just have this discussion here? Yeah.
But the way that MSME works is a jugaad. Jugaad has really brought in MSMEs do the innovation on a daily basis, and that's what it has happened. If you see the where we were at from an MSME's point of view, what kind of an contributions that they were doing, and then what they have done now, I think there is a big kind of a change which has seen. In current scenario, if you see the MSMEs adopting the state-of-the-art machines in their manufacturing plants. We have seen a lot of acceleration that has happened in the last few years itself, especially those challenges when it came in. So in the last 3 to 5 years, if you go and see the manufacturing plants 3 to 5 years back and now you will see a big change there. Right? So that's how it says that how much of evolution that the MSMEs has kind of undergone. And in fact, there are kind of companies who are now thinking, how do we grow big? So if you also look at the data of how many MSMEs have moved from, say, micro to small and then small to medium, correct? So there is a kind of good growth is also happening there. And while the kind of Udyam portal doesn't still show all the numbers, but if you see the number of the registration that you're seeing on the Udyam portal, that says the great growth that we are seeing. So I think there are a lot of positive change which has happened. Obviously, there are many challenges maybe which we will talk about it, but definitely we have a great growth story.
Great. So it's been a great growth story, adoption of innovation. Maybe the numbers officially don't reflect it, but a lot of change is underway, and maybe we'll soon see those numbers as well officially. Ms. Bose, your initial comment on the sectoral highlights in the MSME sector overall, how has the growth story been in terms of innovation, in terms of overall numbers? What is your take on that?
So, first of all, a very warm good afternoon to all of you. And I'm sure it's a post-lunch session, so it must be, we need to keep up the spirit alive for this.
They have more energy.
So, when we talk about the transition phase of an MSME, I would not like to comment like an official from the Ministry of MSME, but at the same time, I have been an MSME myself. So, and beyond that, I have been a banker for a decade or so. So, I would have an experience of, visualizing the transition by my own eyes. So, when we talk about innovation, back then when I was a banker, I have seen those days also, and I'm sure most of you must have seen those, wherein people used to rely on passbooks, people used to rely on checkbooks, people used to rely on financial transactions on a physical mode only. There was not a question of a digital transaction coming altogether. In fact, I have seen those days also wherein I was used to open the branch as a deputy branch manager, and there was a line of people coming down from that area asking that, Madam, there is this small charge that has been levied on my bank account, and this is for SMS that can come to our phone mobile numbers. Please reverse this charge, we don't need an SMS. So that was the kind of a thought they had. And now UPI coming into picture, I don't carry cash, I don't carry my wallet. I don't know since how many years I have been on UPI transactions. A bhutta wala, pan wala, sabzi wala, everybody is having those QR codes. This is a transformation, it's a tremendous transformation that I have seen from then till now. So this is a big leap. And when I talk about innovation, and I'll speak specifically about Indian MSMEs, I'll quote Steve Jobs here, wherein he said that MSME for him is not anything specific. He said it's the ability to see the change, to see an opportunity in a change, and not as a threat. That is the core crux that MSMEs of India took some time to realize, but then when they did, the change is what you're seeing right now. And I'm just telling you, this is just the tip of the iceberg. So many new things are going to unleash and uncover in the coming future. In the next 10 years' time only, you will be able to see so. Yeah.
It's a heartening story for sure. You know, when we started the Make in India campaign, and of late we have seen more focus. We have banned the export and import of certain things. The idea is to nurture our own MSME sector in a way. How has the Make in India concept impacted the mindset of MSMEs, if I have to say so? Mr. Saluja, to begin with you.
No, Make in India had, I was talking about the growth story, and then Make in India has a huge impact on on this growth story. We started with a challenge that we were facing issues with the raw materials. So the raw materials were not coming. So that where basically it was actually a necessity, and we were talking innovation. So necessity drives innovation, necessity drives solutions making. And that's where when Make in India came, it really created an interest in the more and more manufacturers to expand their capacity, to expand or to better utilize their capacity also to produce more and more. And which is what it has created a dependency now where now MSMEs are working with the large corporates in India, MSMEs are working with the MSMEs of others, and the dependency on the raw material, at least to some extent, it has reduced. So one is this internal consumption which has increased. So that is also kind of brought in the Make in India initiatives, and we have seen great examples of how many manufacturing companies or how many MSMEs basically have expanded their capacity. There are so many new plants which has been set up every kind of a day. I mean, you go to different industrial clusters, you will find how many new. You go to the same place and in a 6 months you will find a new plants being there in every clusters. Right? So and also the amount of the new purchases, the new machineries that it has been done. It is all to produce more and more. So it's definitely giving the great growth.
Even given the boost that it needed. You mentioned about, Ms. Bose, about how tech has become, a mass, adoption. It has become an adoption that we see it at even a smaller store, a bigger enterprise, everywhere. But if you give me a sense of Make in India first, then I want to also know about the pain points. To begin with, what are the bigger shifts that Make in India impacted the MSMEs in a way?
So, Make in India is one of the biggest initiatives of the government of India, especially launched by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. And I would say this is such a huge, impactful program that has been launched specifically for MSMEs, because it is just not a program that you can just translate Atmanirbhar Bharat, that we are reliant and self-dependent. If you read into it, it has so many manifold descriptions within them. And that is how at the ministry, at the government level, we are forced to in fact make schemes. We are forced to take initiatives that are there for the upliftment and promotion of the MSMEs, because they are the core people. I always say that MSMEs are no less than the soldiers of our Army, Navy and Air Force, because unknowingly they carry the Bose of the economy on their shoulders and they are not even acknowledged for that. So when we say Make in India initiative, we are actually empowering them, and at the ministerial level, we are launching so many schemes to give them the kind of, the access to market, the access to technology, the access to capacity building, the access to finance for that matter. So these are the main things that have been addressed under the Make in India initiative. The Make in India initiative actually propels the MSME segment to grow faster and faster because of the support of the government. Yeah.
Absolutely. Since we have the tech, we have advantage of homemade tech, frugal, and that too available frugally. What are the bigger pain points still that are beset, that MSMEs are beset with, in your view, Mr. Saluja? And how can we compete at a global level using all the tech innovations that we have at home?
So I think this is a question which directly aligns to what we are doing. So at NASSCOM, so we are basically building an ecosystem for digitizing the manufacturing sector in the country. So that's basically one of the center of excellence which has been set up, which we are driving. Now, as part of this, so you talked about there are so many frugal innovations which are available, and that has really becomes the strength of our ecosystem. We have crores of manufacturers who are looking for the technology, and same way we have thousands of solution providers who have come up, who basically have those innovations, but they are not able to effectively reach out to the manufacturers. So that's basically is the challenge. Now, from the MSME's point of view, what the problem that they are facing is basically, I'll say 3 A's. First is the awareness. The awareness about how technology can help them is still low. While we keep saying that there are so much of an awareness session happening, every association or department or corporates, they are doing sessions basically on Industry 4.0 or basically use of the technology, but still it has not reached to a level in the MSMEs where they are able to move forward. The understanding of how technology can really help in improving productivity and efficiency within their setup, that still it is not clear. The other thing is while many MSMEs still consider automation as the digitization. So that's again a kind of a big kind of a myth which has to be clarified, that while machines are definitely needed there, but having machines within the manufacturing plants are not just enough to have an effective efficiency or a productivity in the plant. We need a digital solution also which can work along with the machines. That basically will work as a 1 + 1 as an 11, and the impact basically will be tremendous. So that's where the efficiency will come in the plants. And this level of an awareness basically is not there. Second thing is basically the affordability. We all know MSMEs work with the frugal budgets also. They, especially on the tech side of it, there is no budgets which are dedicated there. And that's where the affordability of affording the, say, matured solution providers, it is not there. There are not enough consultants, not enough solution providers who are mature and then reaching out to MSMEs and then helping them. So that affordability, it is not there. Third, I will say, is the accessibility. Imagine for an MSME to know who can help in the country, and for them to really find out in a national level, if I have a problem now, who I should reach out. So that level of an accessibility basically, or the clarity who can help, it is not there. And I think that's where this ecosystem is the must, where we have everyone kind of joining hands together and bringing MSMEs closer to the solution providers and make them aware. So from a challenges point of view, I think I've highlighted why they are not able to move forward on the technology adoption.
I think one important point which you raised is awareness, right? They think that the machines are enough, but with that push of tech, I think it can go to next level. Yeah. Your thoughts on it, Ms. Bose, the pain points that you have observed, and what can MSMEs improve to compete at a global level?
So to answer to this, I have seen the MSMEs back then, before 2014 and post that. And I can tell you there is a tremendous change, and you can see the movement of the focus light towards the MSME sector of the economy. The government has massively created a lot of focus on the MSME segment, which was previously completely, we can say, it was not given that kind of a vintage, or, the focus was not there on that. So that's what I can say. So, जब हमने उस पे focus किया, we started to realize there are pain points. First of all, the biggest pain point was India being I think, the biggest country economy, you can say, in terms of MSMEs. And when you say an economy in terms of MSMEs, it is so huge, and at the same time it is so unorganized. So the biggest point was that how to bring it to an organized framework so as to give them any access from the government standpoint. At the same time, when Mr. Amit very rightly quoted that we can say a lot of pain points, but at the same time, if there is no awareness, वो खुद जो भूखा होता है उसके मुंह में खाना नहीं जाता. You have to eat your food yourself. So if he is not even knowing what is good for him, what is there for him, so these were the biggest problems. Then the biggest pain point after this would come to be the access to finance. People know that there is a government scheme, but they don't know where to access. They know that a loan can be availed, but they don't know how to make papers for it. So the next point I can ponder up to is lack of understanding in terms of making financial documents, as we can say, in terms of making them organized, in terms of keeping their paperwork ready. And then again, we have an idea, we know how to make a product or something, but we don't know what is the best technology that can be, focused on to. So these are three main focus points.
Right.
And one more thing I would say, they don't know where to go, where their market is there. They're sitting in a well. They don't know where to access their market. So that was the biggest pain point that I could understand. Yeah.
Thanks for elaborating on that. We have 3 minutes and I have 4 questions. So I'll combine the questions. I was just thinking of when you were speaking about the challenges, and it just occurred to me that I should ask you this. The startup story, of course, we all look at it, with the media is full of it. Has it somewhere also overshadowed the MSME story? One. Second is, how do you see the tech and MSME kind of the combination panning out over the next few years? Start with you.
Yeah, so I think this is, continuing to what I said earlier, startups desperately need user companies to kind of work with them. They have developed very innovative solutions. Indian startups have helped the companies globally, global companies, they have helped and deployed their solutions. The challenge is Indian startups have still not been able to deploy these solutions in the Indian industry. So that's basically is the challenge that we need to work together and solve. We have all the best of the solutions which are available. It's only those solutions needs to reach out to the user companies. Similarly, user companies, they are, because of these awareness gaps and accessibility gap and funding challenges, they are not able to reach out to these innovative providers. So I think what we need is somewhere kind of a matchmaking. If that can happen at a fast level, our Indian MSMEs will look very different in the next 2 to 3 years only. It will not take a lot of time. And the other thing is, what we need to do is create some initial success stories, because these initial success stories will show the kind of a light to all the other MSMEs. I'm sure, if we can have, say, 100 or 200 MSMEs raising their levels, and then within each of the clusters, and then showing those success stories, a lot of this people will get motivated, and then that it will start like a chain reaction. So we have to enable that chain reaction.
Show those success stories, and that's what you are attempting to do.
Correct.
Your take on this startup versus MSME, the kind of focus they have got over the years, and how will the tech and MSME equation pan out?
So when we say startup versus MSME, I don't think that this is something that would exist. Startup is, you can say, a more pampered child of the government, you can say. And MSMEs, we are trying to,
Loyal child.
exactly. So that's the idea about it. And when we talk about the tech innovation part of it and the government initiative part of it, I'll speak more about the government programs that I'm just saying, I have just a minute to say and I have so much to talk about it. The government of India is actually doing a lot of things towards the upliftment of the MSMEs, which includes a lot of capacity building programs, which includes a lot of programs that are giving access to technology to the MSMEs. RAM program, if you have heard about it, the Raising and Accelerating MSME Performance Program, which is a World Bank funded program. It is one of those programs that actually accelerates MSME from 2x to 10x. And I don't have much time to speak about it, but for the benefit of the audience, I would like to say just Google about it, just read about it, how the MSMEs can take the benefit of it. All the states across India are participating in it. And the technology is highly, it is a disruptive factor. And if the MSMEs have access to it, and as we began this session with Chandrayaan, and the kind of cost, if you have done a research on it, it was made in 1/3 cost of what another similar
Yes.
equipment was made by some other country. So you can say that if you have, Indian MSMEs are, they are laborious, they are hardworking, they are intelligent. That is why it is so much in demand across the world. So if they are given this power, हम अगर उन्हें सशक्त करते हैं, अगर हम already empowered है वो brain wise, if we just give them wings, they can definitely bring tremendous growth and flourishing prosperity to the country. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think on that note, it would be right to say that this is a Chandrayaan moment going to happen in the MSME world. It's just that we have the talent. We just need to, as you said, marry the right people with the right find the right partners. But thank you
One
so
thing
much.
I'll say is just towards the last, if MSMEs can have the tech, I think that's the only one thing which is differentiating between our MSMEs and the global MSMEs. If the Indian MSMEs can have the access to the technology, Indian MSMEs will supersede any of the other MSMEs globally. So that will drive the big transformation.
And the best part is, it's not about lack of talent. It's just the pathways that we have to find to reach out to them.
Absolutely.
That's the best story, right?
Indians are helping the global companies. We need to
Help
make sure that
ourselves
the
now.
Indian companies help Indian companies.
Absolutely. On that note, I want to thank you, Mr. Saluja and Ms. Bose, for joining us on this panel.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.